Hello, my beautiful crafty friends. Today we are going to be playing with Stencil Butters. I swear that I'm not obsessed with them. Okay, I may have gotten slightly carried away when I was getting some for myself around Christmas time. It was one of my Christmas presents to myself. And I got quite a few of them because I love them so. And so today we are going to be playing with these. I'm going to show you 10 different ways that you can use Stencil Butters, some with and some without stencils. It's going to be a two-part video because I know that this is going to be a long one. So we'll do 5 today, and in part 2 we'll do another 5. All right, so let's get going with idea number 1. Okay, so for the first technique, I am going to take a couple warm colors, fuchsia and gamboge, and then a couple of the cooler colors, lime green and ocean blue. And I'm going to use a little spatula to kind of blend them on the cards. I'm going to take the gamboge first, and it's important, we're gonna use the texture of the paste to our advantage, and we're going to almost make it look like there's stripes on the card just by the way that we apply it. So I want everything to be going vertically for the yellow and the pink. So I'm gonna always go in like an upward manner, and then when I blend the pink over top, I'm going to do the same thing, kind of go in the same direction, but not completely blend it. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the pink, and then I'm just going to swipe it, and using like really quick little motions, because I don't want to cover the yellow, but I want there to be a very directional kind of partial blend of these colors. I think that's probably good. And then we'll do the same thing with the cooler colors. But this time we're going to go kind of like in a horizontal manner. So I'm going to set this one aside to dry and use the other one. I think I'll do the green first. Okay, and this time I'm going to go the opposite kind of direction on the page. The other one where I was going this way, so now I'm going to go this way. My plan is to kind of cut these into strips or shapes or something, and have the horizontal and the vertical bits next to each other, so you can really see that they are going different directions. I don't know if that makes sense or not. You might have to wait and see what I'm talking about. Get a little bit of the blue. Boop. Oh, it's a lot of blue. Okay, and with just like a flicking motion, I'm going to add some blue onto this green. Okay, and I'll let this dry. We'll move on to our next idea while this is drying. Okay, so for my second idea, I've got a little like paint palette. In these 3 here, I have got clear tar gel. And then in these 3 here, I've just got straight up Elmer's glue. Okay, so I'm hoping these are going to work kind of the same way for this idea. I don't know. I haven't actually tried this yet, so we're going to experiment. I have got some orchid, turquoise, and fuchsia. So I'm going to mix just a tiny bit of the stencil butter into each one of these. So a little bit of fuchsia in the one with the glue, and kind of mix it all together. Hopefully I don't make a massive mess, but that's chances of making a mess are highly likely, but I'm gonna try not to. So I'm just gonna color each of them, and I want it to be a little bit runnier than this. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to the glue parts and mix it to a consistent. I want it to kind of run off the stick a little bit, so we shall see if we can make that happen. Okay, I have a feeling this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to kind of do this off camera. There'll be pink and the purple and the turquoise mixed in all together, and I'll be back as soon as they're mixed. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the consistency of tar gel. Tar gel is a very stringy medium. I don't know if you can see it running off the stick there. There we go. It's used mostly in acrylic painting. It just gives like a really cool texture to paint, so you can mix it with acrylic paints. If you do use it, make sure to always wipe off the edge, because it's very, very sticky. And if you don't wipe off the edge, you might not ever get the lid back off again. Yeah, so that's what that is. Okay, so my goal is to drizzle some of this onto my cardstock and just like kind of random, not that blobby. The goal was not to blob, but was to drizzle, but we'll try and drizzle now. Just in kind of random bits. Let's get a little bit. I'm going to do one card with the glue mixture and one card with the tar gel, so we can kind of compare the two. So this is the Elmer's glue and water that I'm using right now. So it's really just about creating some unique textures that you don't see very often. My hope is that these are going to dry pretty much exactly how they look right now, with like so much texture. Okay, I'm just gonna let that dry, I think, and then I'll do the tar gel one. Okay, well, let's see if the tar gel does a little bit of a better job than the glue did. I mean, it's doing something. This isn't exactly what I had in mind, but I mean, it's kind of cool still. I think I'm digging it. Hard to tell. Okay, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, so those very first panels we did are all dry now. They took a little while. I actually did 2 sets just because I liked the technique. I did one set on black and one set on white, but they actually look fairly similar. I wanted to see if it would make a big difference, but covering the whole thing doesn't. You can't really tell a difference. So anyway, so they are all dry. So I've got the horizontal and the vertical in both. And my plan now is to cut them into 1-inch strips and then put them along the card, alternating. You could also die cut them. I do have this card here that I had planned on kind of doing this technique that I'm doing now with, but I just did solid colors. And once I ran it through the die cut machine, it smoothed out all the texture that was vertical or horizontal and just made them flat. So it kind of negated the idea that I was trying to go for, but it still looked really cool because it kind of picked up some of the, I don't think the camera's picking it up, but it picked up some of the scratch marks on my cutting plate when I put it through the machine. So I thought that was kind of cool. You can't really see it, but it's there. So I just decided to draw on the vertical and horizontal bits, and I still think that looks really cool, but that wasn't really the technique that I was going for, so I'm trying again. Okay, so you can do the die cut and do it like die cut it out of both of these with the nesting dies and do it the way that I did with this one, or you could just do stripes, which is what I think I'm gonna do this time because it's just a little bit easier. All right, so I'm going to stop yammering and I'm gonna cut these into 1-inch stripes. I think I'm gonna go with 3/4 inch stripes actually. Okay, and now I will glue them down onto my card base. Okay, so on this one, so I made 2 because I had the 2 panels and cut them into the strips, so I had enough for 2. So on this one, I just did a very basic die cut sentiment, Wild About You. And then on this one, I decided I wanted to do something with black. So I've got this stencil here, so I thought that maybe I would stencil over this with some black tie stencil butter. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on my card and stencil through. I think I'm just gonna hold the stencil down and hope for the best. Okay, so hopefully none seeped underneath. Let's give it a look, see. Not bad, not great. Okay, I'm just gonna clean off my stencil and then clean this up. I've got a 3D tropical leaves embossing folder from Sizzix. This is what it looks like on black. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of the, let's go with lime green, terra verde, chartreuse, and or fern. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use both of those. And I'm just gonna take a little tiny bit onto my finger and just kind of very lightly go over some of the raised areas. You wanna go really lightly so it just picks up on the raised bits. And I'm just gonna go in various places and kind of blend the greens together. Okay, that's good for that color. Go in a little bit with some of this bright one and then finish it with the deeper green. And you barely need any, like I'm actually tapping it off. I've got like a little bit on my finger, tapping it off onto my glass mat and then going in, just so there's like very little. Okay, and I'm just gonna do a little bit with the deep green. Doesn't that look so pretty? You can see all the shimmer. Oh, love that. All right, so that is number 3. I'm going to use a stencil from Studio Light. It is called it's called the Swirling Moodle, which is my brain right now, Swirling Moodle. I am going to kind of want that in the center, so I'm going to tape this down. Okay, and I'm going to use the fuchsia again and a little bit of turquoise and some summer sky and kind of blend these together in hopes of getting some nice kind of purpley tones is the hope. So I'm literally going to kind of try and blend these together on the stencil. But I think I'm going to use a scraper instead. So I'm just going to use an old credit card. Okay, so there's the pink. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on there. Okay, and then, do I even need the sky blue? Well, I'm going to put a little bit, just for giggles. I might add just a tiny bit more pink because I feel like we lost a bit of it. And then we will lift up the stencil and see what we got. Okay, I might have blended that a little too much, but we'll see. Let's lift her up. I decided to do that again because I felt like the one on the black, I blended just a little bit too much. It's still super pretty. I love how it catches that light. But it was just a little bit too blended for my liking, so I did it again, and I think this time is better. You can actually see the distinct colors. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna let these two dry. But while I have all this yummy goodness on this stencil, I am going to just move these out of the way so I don't muck them up. And I'm gonna put just a little bit of water on this stencil. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a piece of cardstock. Wait, I just wanna get some of this out of the way here. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip this down and press on it with a paper towel just to get all that extra goodness off the stencil. Yay! So now we've got like another print of the reverse that we could use for another card. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in some water quickly to make sure that it gets clean. You don't want the stencil butters to dry on here. Okay, while this one is still wet, I'm going to try and add some clear embossing powder. Okay, and then I'm going to heat set it. Et voila! Technique number 5, bubbling your butter. Doesn't that look so cool? It's very like alien in texture. So it's still got that shine, but now it's got this like really trippy, bubbly texture to it as well. You can bubble the butter without the embossing powder, but for some reason the clear embossing powder, I feel, just gives even more bubbles to it. So you can try with or without. All right, so that is technique number 5. Now, let me show you how I'm going to create some cards out of these. Okay, so I didn't like where it seeped underneath the stencil, so I did cut it off and then decided to angle it like a diamond, backed it on some black cardstock, and just put a Tim Holtz chipboard sentiment, Dwell in Possibility. So that's that one, and this was the other one. So this is the, I wish I'd kind of gone with different colors though, because it's almost a little bit Christmassy. Like the red and green is kind of the prominent. I think the yellow and the blue are a little bit more prominent in these ones, so I almost wish that I'd used these ones instead of these ones. But anyway, I can make more cards using these panels. All right, so that was the first one, with kind of going in different directions. And then the second card was adding these stencil butters to some of the tar gel, the stringy tar gel. I think it turned out really, really cool, and I love it. The glue didn't go quite so well. It just wasn't quite stringy enough, you know? It just kind of glooped a little bit. So, I mean, possibly if you added a bit more water, it might work better, but the tar gel definitely worked really awesome in this technique, and I love it. And so I just added a sentiment that said, you add color to my life, and then backed it just with like a couple different colors. I just decided to do the corners a different color than the other two sides, so just a colorful backing. The third technique was to use your finger and rub it onto an embossed panel, and then I just added some cut aparts from, I think they were just from the dollar store. And then on vellum, some heat-resistant vellum, I embossed difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. So embossed that in gold, and that is that card. And then we had the blending through a stencil. So we've got, this is the blended panel, and I decided to cut it apart, and I used that same stencil and decided to run some clear gloss gel over the stencil onto holographic card, and doesn't it look so cool? Like it picks up like all the colors, but then also the like the stenciled pattern. I just love it. I almost kind of want to just keep it like this, but the point was to use the pieces that we blended. So I am going to glue these onto the holographic panel. I might pop them up on some foam tape actually. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of these, and I'll be right back. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to add more or not. I'm loving the holographic part so much. I had planned on putting that there and this up there. Oh, I just can't decide whether or not it's worth having the extra bits. Oh, decision paralysis. I wish that you could right now just tell me what you think that I should do. I think I like that better than this. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off for now, and I might decide to change it later. I can't make up my mind right now. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, and then I can adjust this card accordingly. Okay, I'm gonna put that possibly there. Okay, anyway, so that's that card. That is the blending through the stencils. And then we had the bonus tip of using what was left of the stencil butters that was on the stencils, adding some water and smushing it all onto a card, and it gave an actually really impressive imprint. I'm actually quite impressed with how clear that imprint is from that stencil. So I just added a little sentiment and then just did a tiny bit of doodling just because I felt like it needed a tiny bit more black since I'd backed this on black. So there's just a little bit of doodling here and there. I don't know if it's gonna pick it up. Anyway, so yeah, so that's that. And then tip 5 or technique 5 was to blend the stencil butters and then add a little bit of clear embossing powder and bubble the butter. And I also love the way that one looks. So then again, I just put finished it simply with a Tim Holtz sentiment from the Snarky Big Talk. So those are my cards. I have literally written down, what am I at? 18 different ideas for stencil butters. So that was just 5. This one was the bonus tip. So I have a lot more ideas coming up. So I have a feeling that this might turn into more than just a 2-part series. This might be like a 3 or 4-parter because I freaking love these stencil butters. I really do. So there's probably going to be quite a few more. I do hope that something was new for you. I really want to try to bring some like innovative and new ideas for you to try. So I hope that I did that. So watch out for part 2, and If you would like to help support this channel, there is a buy me a coffee button down in the description box, which helps a whole lot. But also subscribing and giving this a thumbs up also very much helps this channel, and commenting down below. All those things really help an artist out, and I thank you for them. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you all again very, very soon.